It is now 6:01 on Wednesday, December 14th, 2022. Call the meeting of the DeKalb Township Board of Trustees to order. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Trustee Bradlow,
Here.
trustee King,
I'm here.
trustee Thurman. Here. Trustee McNutt. Here. Supervisor Hutz.
Here.
Also present is Highway Commissioner Craig Smith and the people from the Saint.
Vincent.
Also Society of Saint. Thank you.
Please let the record reflect that a quorum is present. And if we can please stand for the pledge. Donna, would you please lead us to it?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. Next, approval of the agenda. I would like to make a change down in item I for new business. Instead of having item C, the October and the November minutes included in one item, I'd like to make November's minutes item D. So that's a suggestion I'm making. Does anyone have any other changes to the agenda? Is it set? Presentation. So tonight we have the Society of St. Vincent de Paul that represents St. Mary's and Christ, the teacher church, your conference, I believe that's what it's called, here to present. They have been here in the past. And so tonight they're going to talk about a program that they run for DeKalb residents. And with us, we have Ms. Donna Brown, who's the president. And if you'll introduce, because I've already forgotten, I'm sorry.
I'd like to introduce the supply closet manager, Kathy Dixon.
Okay. And I understand you have some handouts for us?
We do.
Okay. And so it's very informal, you know. Thank you.
Thank you. We really do appreciate the opportunity to speak to you tonight and request your continued support for our program, the supply closet and the emergency food assistance. Just for a little background, for those of you who are not particularly familiar with the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, it was begun in Paris, France in 1833. So we are actually part of an international society, but we operate independently on the local level. And our particular conference here in DeKalb started in 2004 and operates under we're umbrellaed under the tax ID of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul Rockford Conference or Council. I gotta get that right. Anyway, our conference adheres to the rule of St. Vincent de Paul, which calls us to be the hands and feet of Christ within our local community. The heart of our mission is to spread hope and good news to those who have become hopeless. One of the ways we do this is by compassionately listening to the people who come to us and helping them to apply their own creativity and life skills to the situations they want to overcome. We help them identify the underlying causes that may be affecting their life situations and assist them in directing their efforts towards solutions and resources that will be effective and lasting. In October of 2021, our St. Vincent de Paul supply closet opened its monthly operations. And we are most grateful for the support that the DeKalb Township gave us in both financial assistance and encouragement at that time. The supply closet helps provide personal and household items that cannot be obtained at most food pantries or through SNAP. Roughly 80% of the households we serve receive SNAP benefits. In the first 6 months of the new program, we distributed on average about 21 essential items bags per month. In the last 6 months that just passed, we've seen an increase and are now distributing 52 essential item bags per month. In the handout, you'll see there's been a difference in the costs of those bags. In addition, our emergency food assistance, which offers help when food pantries are closed and at other difficult times, such as during the holidays, when family budgets are particularly strained, we provide Aldi food gift cards. And we have so far distributed about 156 of these to various households. The members of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, we plan to continue our service to these neighbors, not only providing financial assistance, but also continuing to offer friendship, understanding, and hope. With the $5,000 we are requesting that you support us with, we will more easily absorb the program cost increase that we've seen due to the inflationary increases of the items that we're offering. Some of those items are listed on your handout. Kathy can answer questions regarding the more specific items that are on a monthly basis distributed. Yesterday was the day we held our supply closet for this month, and it occurs on the second Tuesday of each month from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Yesterday was quite busy. So anyway, thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. So somebody needs something, I guess before the second Tuesday, they can't come back.
Well, we also operate a helpline and we have a visit program. So it's not just this program that we operate, but through our helpline and our visit program, if someone has a need for these items, I can give you an instance where someone who's currently experiencing chemotherapy and is not able to physically make it into, she may call our helpline and say, is it possible for you to drop off a bag? And so we coordinate with the people who run the supply closet, and we try and work depending on what's needed. Yes.
Hey, well, what can an individual? Yeah.
I have another.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm sure I'll leave room for you. When it says average cost per household, what is that number?
The average cost per household, well, are you referring to the emergency food or are you referring to the personal items bag?
You know, I don't know. I'm looking at the chart.
Well, we distributed 364 bags of personal items. These items could include laundry detergent, toilet paper, paper towels, garbage bags, shampoo, dish soap, laundry soap, you know, the things that you and I would consider essential.
Okay.
Anyway, in fiscal year 2022, we distributed 364 of those bags. And the cost for those items that we paid was $3,466. That was just one portion. That wasn't food or anything. These were, so now we're projecting at the current rate that we're seeing come to our supply closet,
Right.
that we're going to see 624 of those bags distributed in this fiscal year that we're in now. And the projected cost is going to be $10,000 because the cost of the bag has increased. It's now $17.20. And we think that might still be too low. You know, the price is going up. And I have to say, individuals like Kathy, and we are all volunteers, by the way, we don't have a paid staff, but individuals like Kathy and some of the other volunteers that help run this program. They scour the newspapers, they look for all of the bargains that they can. Unlike when we operated a food pantry, we don't have the Northern Illinois Food Bank discounting these government items. We don't have that. So we're paying the prices in some instances that you and I go to the grocery store to pay, but they're keeping that cost as low as they can. It's just that things have gone up.
Okay, thank you for all of that. I'm still not clear, and maybe I missed it. Where it says average cost per household, it's above the 364 and above the 624. It says 50 in both columns.
Well, that's for the food print program, okay?
Oh,
Those are the food, that's the food assistance. We served 154 households. The 7,670 was the cost of that assistance for that number of households. So the average was $50 for each of those gift cards that we give them a food only gift card from Aldi's. So Aldi's is the only place I'm aware of that will allow us to designate, we want it to be food only because we used to have a food pantry. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful. I'm sorry I didn't answer it.
no, that's okay. You provided some good information still. Still, I'm finished.
The only question, what if individually someone wants to come help or contribute? What's the best way that the individual could do that?
Well, we welcome volunteers because we are all volunteers. And we do have a general number and a helpline number. Our easiest way to contact us through our website. S as in Sam, V as in Victor, D as in dog, P as in Peter, the word DeKalb.org. You'll learn a lot about us and you can request assistance as well as contact us if you'd like to volunteer. So any other questions?
Certain social service agencies around recommend you. They're familiar.
We collaborate. We're so grateful for the collaboration. The Family Service Agency, the DeKalb Township, the Safe Passage, Hope Haven, just about everyone, Salvation Army. We like to think of ourselves as the fill in the gap organization because we know it really does take a village to provide some of the services. And we're not trying to duplicate things, but we've just come through a really tough time with COVID. And a lot of the families are still trying to recover from that. And the prices have gone up for them for rents and everything else. So we very much feel that we're collaborating because Mary's budget may say, I can only spend for utilities and rent. But we are in a position that we can look at a broader group of requests, such as card repair and that type of thing. So we will consider any request. We might not have a lot of money, but what we have, we will try and address in the best way possible.
I have one more question. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I just had a statement. Yesterday, the university, NIU clarified a policy of NIU employees volunteering for organizations like yours. That the university employees can still get work credit for it. So they can take off a day during the week or even a weekend. It will count towards up to 7.5 hours of their work time. So if they volunteer, just so you know, so you might want to pick on some volunteers there, they can basically pay for it.
Well, thank you so much. If you, one thing we would ask, if you know of any entities that, maybe it's a company you know of that manufactures some of the items that we give away. And there's a way to be on their list to receive some of that. That would be great. not so much the money, but the actual items like toilet paper or paper towels. Once or twice a year, we do a donation request where the community can fill baskets and donate in-kind items if they would like to support in that way. But monetary also helps as well. So
That was my question. I was gonna ask if you all have a variety of products. And I asked that because I use the all clear temperature, liquid detergent, because I have pretty sensitive skin. And my hair is different, like Suave is not really gonna work for me. But it works for most people. And so I think, you know, as we think about cultural diversity, I'm wondering if that's something that you take into consideration.
we take all of those things into consideration, and Kathy can probably answer that better.
I mean,
Okay.
we try to get different products as much as we can. It is really a cost factor for us so we just try to get some general, like 2-in-1 shampoos and, you know, but that's a good thing for us to probably check out. I know we're gonna try now to hit some of the stores like Target or Myers, and try to set up like a donation month for us, you know, and maybe pick on one product that maybe they would like to help us support, because the money we're putting out financially just for these products is a lot for our 2 churches, which is basically where we're getting our input, our money from. So yeah, that would be a great, because we do have a lot of people that come in from different cultures. We used to even get more when we had the food pantry, but I think because we're still growing, we still right now have mostly Black and Hispanic people coming in, and I'm not sure. We keep trying to reach out through, I know when we first started, I went to a lot of the apartments complexes here, gave all our information out, and they were gonna pass it on to the people that rent from them and things. So I think it's just a slow process and trying to get back in. I know we're only open once a month, which is probably difficult, but we're afraid to open up more than that at this time, just for the money issue and having enough products, because yesterday we went through a lot of stuff. So we're gonna have to go, because we give diapers too, things for babies, we give, you know, male and female products, and just, it's the whole list. We tried to hit a lot of things. We even gave out garbage cans yesterday, excuse me, garbage bags. But we don't always have that, and those are big price items for us. You know, so we try to stick to the very basics like laundry, dish soap, paper towels, toilet paper, some cleaning products. We get donations from some churches like for hand towels, but that's not something we're gonna probably buy. But if they want to give it to us, we'll be glad. We put that on a select one item off of this thing. So we never know from month to month exactly what we're going to be able to give out, but the basics are there. And it's toothpaste, shampoo, deodorant, shaving cream, razors, those kinds of things. So, I mean, those are the things that we're always going to have, because we can purchase those at a fairly good price. But
It's probably a thing, right, Dale? Because Black men get razor bumps.
Why you look at me now?
Well, I'm just saying, you're Black male. I don't see any razor bumps on your face. I had a Black father.
At that side of the table.
Well, I Black father before he passed, and so I know that's a issue for Black males, and so I didn't mean to put you on the spot or something.
somebody will have to let us know what those razors are.
Yeah, and you know, and I'm not saying it to be offensive at any way. I think that there are times and there are aspects of cultural specificity that people don't know, right? And you wouldn't even know to ask. You wouldn't say, hey, what kind of razors do we need for Black men? You know, you just assume that it's all the same. Yeah.
Well, it's like when we had our food pantry, we got people from just all different ethnic groups. I mean, from Hispanic, Muslim. I mean, you know, we were afraid, we just didn't have the kind of food for all those people that they would normally eat. And we didn't even know where would you get that would be cost effective too. That's a big issue. At least for us, because we're, you know, this is all just from 2 churches, and those are basic people that are donating into this whole community.
Is this the only township you received donation from?
Well, yes.
I see the list of towns at the bottom, and every one of those towns represents a separate township.
Well, I think you are the largest that we deal with. And we have received little support from the city of DeKalb, but that's for our utility and rent assistance. It's very small. She did mention support from the two churches. There's actually three churches in the area. Sycamore has St. Mary's, and the council has decided they're going to blend. So we're going to become officially the Sycamore DeKalb conference. However, I don't want to mislead you in how those churches support us. The number one way they support us is those parishioners tend to be the volunteers who help us. Financially, all three of the churches may tithe, but because of COVID, they've seen their numbers really not come back. And so their funding is very limited. Outside of that, we look to the community and the parishioners themselves who support the work that we do.
Yeah, I just think for funding, whether it be Malta Township with Malta or Cortland, Hinckley, there's 19 townships in DeKalb County.
Sure.
And I would find that almost, whether it would be the same amount of monetary donation that you could get from DeKalb, but it would be something, that it might be just a simple phone call.
Sure.
So,
You put in a good word for it.
Yeah. I think you'd be surprised.
so, couple of points that I want to make. St. Vincent de Paul is one of our greatest partners in our emergency assistance program. Our program requires that if a person, whatever their past rent due is, if they qualify and are eligible for township payment through emergency assistance, if our payment doesn't cover that full amount, then they have to pay that difference before we will issue a payment, because we want to get them out of that emergency. And so it's oftentimes St. Vincent de Paul that will provide that extra amount of funding that individual needs. So we work real closely together with St. Vincent de Paul. And so and as Donna explained, our emergency assistance funds can only be used for rent, utilities, and work-related emergencies. We know that there's all kinds of other emergencies, and so St. Vincent de Paul is able to help with that because they don't have the same restrictions that we do. So this, the supply clause that they have, having worked at or volunteered at the Barb Food Mart and Salvation Army food pantries. Salvation Army, when a person's going through, there can maybe get one individual roll of toilet paper. If they have toilet paper, they can maybe get one package of wipes and a partial package of diapers. And so this really does fill a void. Same with Barb Food Mart. It's hit or miss if they have some of these items. So this is a service that other food pantries, as Donna explained, aren't necessarily providing. I do, when organizations come to us for funding, I do want to let you know that we do have an annual human services grant program. And so those applications are available July 1st of every year, and then they're due at the end of the month. And so I would just recommend that you get on that cycle of, applying at that time. And then it's just a much easier process where you don't have to come and do a presentation and so forth. And then as past organizations have come to us and requested funding, we do, when you serve multiple residents of the county, we do encourage you to reach out to those other townships. And as I have done with other organizations, I can share the contact information for those townships with you, just to, let them know that you're providing services to their residents too. And then for you, we do have funds available in our general assistance account. And because they do check IDs and they do kind of screen people to know that they meet an income threshold, we are authorized to use funds out of our general assistance account to meet some of these needs. So we would be able to provide it out of there. I did explain to Donna that we would have a discussion and then if necessary, if we wanted to bring it back for a vote, that's fine. So, any of that?
Good.
Okay, so we want to bring it back for a vote next month?
Mhm.
You're in
Oh,
favor?
they're asking right now. This is an ask? I missed that. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll bring it back for a vote next month. They're asking if we will consider their request. And so we would bring it back for a vote next month.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought it was just it's a general presentation that
No,
we're
no.
given to them.
Yeah, no, they're asking for $5,000
I didn't read that part.
to.
Okay.
So everyone in favor of bringing it back for a vote next month, say aye.
Alright.
Opposed? We will bring it back for a vote next month, and if we have any questions in the meantime, I know how to get hold.
Okay, thank you so much.
So
Alright.
you give people like a whole 6-pack of toilet paper or something?
Yes, and it depends. If it's a larger family, they get more.
Okay,
They get more paper towels. There's a basic bag. It's toilet paper, paper towel, dish soap, regular bar soap. At least 15 garbage bags. And what else do we put in there?
Diapers if they need diapers.
Yeah, I mean, we have there's a basic bag and that's a basic, if it's larger family, larger than 5, then they get almost twice that in the bag. So, and then there's we have several other things set up where you can choose these other little bit heavier, larger priced items. Whether it's a big thing of laundry soap or it's a broom with a dustpan or a garbage can or towels or trying to think what else they have on there, but they also can pick female products, male products. That's another additional. So that's why this price is really I think we lowball it a little bit because of these other things that are a little bit more costly and they all get to at least take home 5 or 6 of those different types of items, but they have to choose, what it is they need the most. So
You're set up kind of like a store where they're shopping.
we are. So the first, they get their bag and then they kind of go through all this other stuff,
Do you
So
guys have a place where we can drop off donations, or is it like a call and setup type of thing?
Call and set up because
yeah, I
we're very
can meet people
grateful.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kathy and the other volunteers who help manage the supply closet. It's actually run out of where we used to have the food pantry, which is the old St. Mary's school. And their entrance is on Fisk Avenue.
Yep, I know exactly where it is.
Yeah, well, we're not there 24/7, so we have to arrange with Kathy.
Yeah, but anybody wants, we're
Yeah.
more than happy to go there and take it from you.
And we'll give you a list too. The most needed items.
List keeps getting.
All right, well,
It's not a really good, it's probably pretty good, but it's not. It's just changed. I just keep adding things as we get things and,
Oh, yeah, just.
Yeah, it is. I was. Catholics with. I should have, I think we dropped some off.
No, they might be.
They can
Yeah,
play with it.
they'll make copies.
So they got a blank one there.
if you gave us a list, we could post it on Facebook and be a collection site for a couple
Well,
of.
that'd be
months.
great.
Yeah,
We get some made up.
everything.
I didn't think to bring it because Donna didn't really.
If you want to email it to me, that's fine,
I could.
and I can distribute
Yeah,
it.
these are, I take a tab of everything we get donated from people all the time because we have to kind of keep a list of what people are giving us. So I don't know if I have. Yeah. I don't really, but I can.
We'll email
that to
you it and yes, we would need volunteers. We love volunteers that would help collect those donated items.
Yeah, because we are, most of our gals that help us, we have at least 3 or 4 that are in their 80s.
Yeah.
One's actually 90. And
You wouldn't know it.
some of these people got issues coming up. So sometimes, we were wondering if we we're gonna have enough help yesterday, but luckily we did. So,
Yeah.
we're always looking for young blood, so to speak.
So are you are or not associated with St. Mary?
Well, the conference, or the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, they have to operate in conjunction with local church parishes. There are some that operate independently, but we have to have permission from the local churches in order to operate our ministry. We are separate from them, but we are a Catholic lay ministry and we've been around a while.
But they allow us to use the building.
Yeah,
For what
that's
we're,
one of the things. they
Otherwise,
don't-
you have to rent someplace to. do this.
Yeah, so it saves a lot of cost.
Well, I'm gonna thank you some shampoo and some lotion, cause I know,
Ew,
no,
you better-
it's not all the same.
No,
Well, you
it's
can
not.
email me that. My email is Kathy,
See, okay.
K. At SVDP DeKalb,
Kathy at SB
GP, and then DeKalb.org. And we'll look, because really, we have a very large clientele.
Okay.
Well, thank you for coming out on this rainy night.
You guys have a very wonderful holiday.
You too.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the work you do too.
Thank you.
People need that.
All right.
Being dry is not cool. Yes.
You know, the things that they do allow people to live with dignity. It's really important. Okay, public comments. We have no one else here, so moving on to reports. Supervisor's report, I will give you a copy of this. It's not included in the board book. Just a couple of announcements that will need to be noted in the minutes effective 1/1/23. General assistant payment level will be increasing from $322 a month to $340. And that is a reflection of the Department of Human Services, Illinois, increasing the TANF amount. So we follow what they're providing as a TANF payment. Also effective 1/1/23, emergency assistant payments will be limited to 5 per lifetime. That's emergency assistance payments that are issued by DeKalb Township only. So after a person is approved and receives their first payment, they can't receive it again for 12 months. So if they come back that next year and ask for another payment, that amount is going to be reduced by 20%. They come back a third year, it's going to be reduced by 40%. And then when they get to the 5th year, they'll, after they use that, they won't be able to receive assistance anymore. That's in line with what some other townships are doing. And TANF is also limited to 5 years. So this is kind of a standard thing.
Is there a rationale?
Just we don't want people to be dependent on it for, you know, a lifetime. And so we're about, the state of Illinois does that for TANF. And so we are, it has a lifetime limit of 5 years. So we're doing the same. Our contract with Passion Pursuit, which provides our job coaching services, is set to expire on December 31st. And we recently implemented a change. You know, it had been going really well for a while, and next month I can bring the data on it of people who were showing up for their appointments, and as time went on, that started decreasing, not calling, not showing up. And, you know, Danita is here and we're paying her for her time. So we did some problem solving and came up with the idea to offer virtual and phone appointments. In addition, if someone really wanted to meet with her in person, we would still accommodate that. This allowed her to have some evening appointments and then also some appointments on Saturday. So we are in the second week of that. We have a 50% show up rating for the first week. So we're gonna give this until the end of June to see how it goes and then reevaluate from there. You know, the thought process is when we have people coming to us for emergency assistance that are unemployed or underemployed, we're trying to get them to, you know, provide them some services to help them become self-sufficient, and that generally happens through employment. And so we offer an employment coach at no cost, and it's just not being used as much as I had hoped it would. So we'll reevaluate that. Last week, the end of November, I had a meeting or like participated in a meeting with Mortensen, which is the company that's building the Facebook data centers. The meeting was in regard to their 2023 hard hat and training program. what that is an 8-week workforce development program at the DeKalb Data Center there in Gerler for the construction of the data center. Individuals can apply to be a part of this hard hat and training program. And if they're approved and are allowed to participate in the program, it's 4 weeks of classroom training, followed by 4 weeks of an apprenticeship with one of the unions. And the entire 8 weeks is paid. So it, provides a pathway for community members because they have to be residents of DeKalb County, I believe, for at least a year in order to be eligible for this program. It provides a pathway for them to get the training, to getting a well-paid job in the construction industry. And that covers everything from carpentry, concrete finishing, craft labor, drywall installer, electrician, HVAC tech, pipe fitter, painter. So it's an opportunity for them to work locally and get into the trades. So they are accepting applications through January 8th, and we can make referrals. Couple of the things that have to happen, they have to pass a drug test. And for the 8-week program, they have to show up on time every day and stay the entire time. So if you know of anyone that you think would be well suited for this, we can make a referral. I have a referral form, but we're also going to, now that we've received approval from Mortensen, start pushing this out to the community through our social media. And in addition to that, we were invited to participate as a community roundtable partner, where we'll meet with Mortensen monthly because they want to be a good community partner in providing resources to various groups in our area. And so we'll be providing feedback on how to do that. So that will be starting in January of 2023. Last month, we discussed suburban apartments, and I did reach out to county board members, and Rakisha Crawford replied to me. And she asked Brian Gregory, who's the administrator of the county, to contact me to discuss our concerns about suburban. So I'm waiting for him to get in touch with me and have those discussions. And I read that there's the new county board president has been named. So I will also be reaching out to her and seeing what we can get done about that. PCs for People, which is the program we collaborate with, that was providing free computers to individuals who qualified. They have exhausted their funding for the free computers, so they will no longer be providing them. So the new costs are going to be $60 for a desktop, $120 for a laptop, and $50 for hotspots. And we will continue to serve as a distribution site for anyone who does apply and is found eligible. And from last month's TOI conference, the conference handouts, if you weren't able to go to every session you wanted to, they have been posted to the TOI website. It doesn't look like every single session has handouts that are on there. I know one of the sessions I went to, the handouts are not on the website. So I don't think it's inclusive of everything.
I do have.
And if any of you have any information that you learned in your sessions that you think is valuable to share, I'm certainly open to hearing about that and seeing how we can work that in. And lastly, on December 19th, which is next Monday, we'll be having a Christmas lunch and potluck here. And I invite all of you that maybe can get away from work for a while to come by and join us.
What time is that?
Oh, didn't really say. It's like lunch, so like noonish.
What's the menu? Are you having food?
What are you bringing? It's a potluck.
Hopefully it'll be started before I get here. I'll just come and see. It depends.
And then I on your with your books, I put one of these at each of your spots. It's some upcoming education sessions offered by TOI that you don't have to be there in person, they're also going to be offered online. So if anyone wants to take advantage of any of those, please contact me so I can register you for that. Any questions about anything?
I have some questions.
Sure.
You talked about the passion pursuit,
Yes.
is that the name of it? Is there any screening to see if people have used substances or are currently, and if that is the case, is there any referral for substance abuse or rehab offerings for those people?
So Passion Pursuit is just a job coach, so we wouldn't ask about their drug or alcohol use. I mean, unless that person voluntarily brought that up. It's just more about what can we do to help you find employment? You know, do you need help with your resume? Do you need help knowing where to look? Do you need, you know, here's places that are hiring? We don't, I mean, that's not in Danita's wheelhouse for.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
That is something though that as part of our general assistance and emergency assistance application process, when they come in for an interview, if the caseworker detects something, then they, you know, they can make a suggestion, and for general assistance, they can require them to see a provider.
Okay. I was just, I was curious. I'm not even suggesting that people that have substance abuse situations are the people that are coming. But I'm thinking that if people come and they're having challenges with either maintaining employment or finding employment, that maybe there's something else occurring. And so, you know, you help me fill out my resume, but there's something else going on. So it's, you know, it's nice for the moment, but it's not really a long-term option, right? So my other question was, how many PCs for people did we give out? Or how many were given out?
I don't have that number in front of me, but I would say between 50 and 75.
Okay. Right. And for the Mortensen, this is DeKalb County-wide?
Yes.
And will it be published, you know, broad-based published, like people will know?
I don't know what they do as far as their marketing. I know that at this meeting that I was at, they had 2 that day, and the one that I was at, there was probably, I was maybe one of 40. So, you know, I think multiple agencies know about it. I mean, there was people there from the police department and you know, schools, and so I think that the word is out.
Broad-based, yeah. When you said it, I just started thinking about those truck programs, like the CDLs, like at Kish, that, you know, this is probably something that they too could.
A lot of people aren't able to participate in the CDL program because they can't pass a drug test.
Right,
I can't.
yeah,
So my friend runs that.
okay. Some
And it's
people,
very expensive.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, well, that's what I thought too. So this is
Federal government has really helped out on that one.
Isn't there a new law that says you have to take a course now? You can't just learn?
I can't train anyone.
All right,
But there's all
even though
kinds
you're
of
totally
funding.
capable.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
Now it has to go.
got a
to
CDL
court.
since CDLs came out, so
put the C in
I've
CDL.
never had a ticket. So moving violation. I've had an overweight ticket.
Those are my questions.
Any other questions? Clerk's report?
Yeah, I would like to take this opportunity to apologize to you all. I have not been sending Mary the correct completed version of my minutes. There's something happening on my end where I'm sending something that's half done, because looking at my records, and looking at my records and looking at what I sent Mary, there's clearly a discrepancy. I mean, if you look at the minutes later when we get to that item, there's things that don't make sense because it is a version that is from the middle of my editing process. This is what happened last month as well. And why they're, not that I'm incapable of mistakes, obviously, but like these are clearly half done. I must be saving them in the wrong place or something. So from now on, when I send them to Mary, I will be sure to actually check that I have sent the right version so that this doesn't happen again. I'd like to apologize to you all for the inconvenience of I mean, you do whatever you want to as the board with the notes, right? I'm telling you, this is not the correct version of the minutes you have before you. So I apologize. And thank you for your understanding.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Oh, one more thing.
Yes,
I'm very much interested in attending those trainings. I'll take a look and let you know which ones I would like to enroll in.
the TOI ones?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Highway Commissioner?
I don't have much. I will say, and I've been wanting to tell you guys, so salt prices for road salt almost doubled this year. So we went from like $47, I think, last year a ton to 96 this year. Fortunately enough, and because of what we've been creating here with the blending with other chemicals and things like that, our salt usage is down almost 50%. So it's not really a savings, although it is, because we're using half of what, so we've only ordered this year 50% of what we normally would order. So costs to, you know, from the budget really standpoint is almost equal. But that's gonna be a trend moving forward. Low water table on the Mississippi River, not being able to push full barges up the river, all kinds of different things. Salt mines, the federal EPA. It's been a little stiffer on the salt mines in the southern part of the country, so. Other than that, we got supposedly the Weather Channel's not saying, we got quite a bit of snow, it sounds like, coming in the next few weeks here. I know finally got out some drafts for the building IGA that I think it looks like we're gonna talk about here. Other than that, that's about it.
So we hope we're not gonna have a really snowy winter.
You know, for us, the end of the day, you get into whenever it's windy out, you can't use salt in the country, you know, so, and the more rural roads that are open, so, and that's sad. With a lot of the changes with the city street department, the younger staff that come to solve everything, it's kind of working through those discussions as shared responsibilities, you know, please don't salt my roads anymore, so.
Okay,
Because it actually creates a lot more labor costs on, you know. A wet road tends to attract the snow, where a dry road, the snow will blow across it, so. And if you're not used to rural snow plowing, you're just not used to it. No one knows that. That's it for me.
Okay, assessors report? It's not here, so. And trustees report, trustee McNabb?
Oh.
Steve Herman?
Just the university made a couple announcements yesterday, and the one I kind of alluded to earlier that they're gonna really make a push for NIU employees to do more volunteerism, because we were short a couple of events that now employees can get time served for at NIU for volunteering. And the policy's changed to that even applies on a weekend. So if someone came in to volunteer on a Saturday or Sunday, they can add it to their, time, official NIU time sheets.
Take a time and a half.
Are you ready to time?
no, and it's at night too, not to
At nighttime, so yeah, so and now anytime an NIU employee wants to volunteer, they can get it. So hopefully the volunteerism go up. That was the hope for it.
Is there a central resource we can go to advertise those volunteer opportunities?
That I don't know. Yeah, and I can ask you.
Kathy Dodeline would be the person
And
in the HR office.
So
Yeah,
you could look at that, let us know then,
yeah.
okay?
and
It's really something we should probably consider here. With
Does she get
employees.
that?
so
That doesn't go to.
You gotta sign it first, though.
Yeah, I didn't.
And the other announcement is that the NIU will no longer have snow days. If it snows or inclement weather, the expectation is that the workers, employees, and the classes will all go remote.
I think most elementary schools and that are going that
We're all ready for it now.
Yeah.
We got all the tech installed.
There's definitely the trend, and NIU has got on, so.
We have on the deck.
We'll find out.
We prayed for those when we were growing up.
Man,
That represents a big change for the university. No
Yeah.
more snow days.
Yeah,
yeah, well, yeah, I was thinking even the essential people, but it was a whole long thing about that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'd be more details.
Yeah, and the volunteers, I'm sure it wasn't totally hashed out, but that's the plan, and it'll take probably a little bit while to normalize that, and then afterwards, maybe they will set up some type of repository where employees can volunteer, because I know more employees should volunteer now. That was always been an obstacle, when you find time, now the universities give a lot of time for that.
This was announced at a meeting that talked also about recognition, acknowledgement, so like awards. So like people who do these things can be acknowledged. So maybe that also will be some encouragement, because some people like that.
It's the change in setting for the day. That would be enough encouragement for me. Just to go do
okay.
something different for the day.
Oh, I didn't get that. You could leave your job for the day, but
Oh, yeah, isn't that what you're talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Just 7
If you
and
get 7.5 hours a week off your regular job and you go volunteer somewhere else.
every week or
Because every week you-
no, it's 7.5
in a year?
in your, I don't know.
Read that HR.
Month, 7.5 a month, or-
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen a month. I couldn't
But
see
it's time away from work, right?
Oh, yeah.
It counts as if you were at work.
And the directive to managers were that you allow it. Before it was kind of an unwritten policy, but now it's a policy that the managers is supposed to lean towards given the time, so.
People were good about, like, if you had to go help for voting, or say you were a Boy Scout, something like that. But if somebody said, oh, I gotta go, no, I don't know, we're helping the seniors, and I'm gonna go, well, we need you today. But now, I guess it's a thing.
They encouraging managers to give the time off and there's a reporting mechanism now, so if your manager doesn't want to give you the time off, so it should be a lot easier. That definitely grease the wheel for volunteering.
Right.
Isn't
Good to know. Thanks for letting us know.
Agrees to will, all right.
Trustee Bradley?
I was gonna mention that I do know, and I've seen a lot of talk, looking for services online, that the youth service Spirit Out is taking new clients at the moment. So hopefully someone who needs it hears it.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Trustee King?
The semester is over. They'll talk about the administrative piece, but the students are gone, the grades are up, and next week, there may be students visiting, because those that didn't do well will be battling for their grades, their standing. Other than that, it's kind of a downtime. The mental health board has completed the surveys for the mental health survey that we talked about in here. They were successful, I should say, we were successful at giving away the gift cards, and no one has complained because we just went down the list, so we called Mary, Mary wasn't available, we went down the list to Chad. And so Chad came right away and got it and said, thank you. He never said, what about Mary? Like, I won. I think that's pretty much it. We talked about, we met with the HRC. We talked about what is going on in the schools. You may know about this. We talked about, we had 2 public comments who told us that the schools were writing tickets for students, and that it was inconvenience because it was the students couldn't pay the tickets, and so then it became a hardship. But we got clarity from the superintendent. We met her and her staff and the chief, and they talked about the RSOs and the process. We saw some pictures from Sergeant Leaks,
Commander Lakis.
Commander.
Lakis?
Lakis.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yep.
What else? We saw some pictures, we heard about the whole process. And it's good, And we learned about community service. So community services have students pay for the tickets, which I thought was good, because what the the public comment said, and the public person said that some information came from the state to say that this is a problem and it's not just in DeKalb, it's nationwide. And so what the police officers, the chief and the other officers were able to say is that that's not the case, that there's some other things. And that the officers are not just randomly chosen, that they volunteer. There's a whole process to determine who's gonna be there. So I think that's good information for the schools and for the residents of DeKalb. On a personal note, not that anybody asked, but I've had COVID. I had a feeling to fall out. I had a root canal, and I'm better now. So, I'm hoping, Greg, I'm hoping.
I don't think you put a mask.
Yeah, oh yeah, the mask helps both of us.
I said, no, you are very right.
Cause I'm not trying to, and all I could think about is sitting at that conference, Marion, you were sneezing, and I kept saying, bless you, and you said, oh, there's more. And I thought, wonder if there was more.
Yeah,
But-
that time of the year. for it.
Well, you know, I also met with my students before I came too, so I'm sorry, I forgot to wear my mask, and yeah, it's what I get, Luckily, I had the vaccinations and the 3rd boost, so now I gotta get the 4th boost.
Okay,
And other than that, I think that's all I got.
all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I failed to mention during my report that there is a FOIA report in board packet. We have one FOIA request since the last meeting. So that's in there. All right, moving on to bill paying. A little bit of a discussion before we get into it, just in case if there's any question. So as you will notice, this looks different from what you're used to seeing.
Redacted stuff.
Well, the redacted stuff is the names of the general assistance clients, which we have to redact. But why this looks different is this is the report that is run out of QuickBooks. So as we are approaching the time where we're going to be changing our accounting procedures, Jody, what she had traditionally done is transfer the QuickBook reports to Excel. And so she was taking an extra step because there were some things that she wasn't quite sure how to work on QuickBooks. So she and I sat down together and worked through those things. And this is a step in the direction we're going to be going, but there's still some things that have to happen. And so I'll explain that a little bit later. But yeah, you're definitely going to know that or see that it's a little bit different. So when you're looking at this up at the top, you're going to see what fund it's for. So like, for example, this one says town fund. And so the reconciliation detail is a reconciliation of the November bank statement. So it's just, we take the bank statement and compare it to the banks or the checks that were written through QuickBooks. And if those checks were processed and cashed, then they will appear on this reconciliation detail. If they were not cashed, then they will not appear on it. They will go, if you flip the page down to uncleared transactions, there's another area there. So those are checks that have been processed, but they haven't been cleared by the bank. And then the next item on there is deposits. So it's all of the same information that you're used to looking at. It's just in a little bit different of a format because it's in QuickBooks. And then you'll see that we have the reconciliation detail for general assistance, same thing. But the blackouts there, we do protect the confidentiality of our general assistance claims, and that's why those are there.
Was it always 73 items in terms of deposits and credits? It's actually maybe more than that.
It's every month, it's different.
Oh, okay.
It depends on the month.
And a font.
And if this is, the only cause for redaction would be in general assistance, no other type of redaction.
And then, unfortunately, these numbers or these pages are not numbered. But if you get to the one that looks like this, 2022 December warrant, if you flip to that, that is going to look the same right now. That Excel spreadsheet, that just shows that up until today's date, these are the checks that have been issued. Those are the ones that you're approving in the audit forms that you're signing tonight. The pages after that, some pages seem to be out of order because there's more December checks that have been written. I don't know why they're out of order. And then we have our balances for all of the different accounts between the road district and the town. So that shows after checks were cleared and outstanding checks, what the balance in those accounts are. And then what you're used to seeing this as the budget report, we also are able to run that out of QuickBooks. What we had to do is, when you run this report initially, it shows every single month of the fiscal year. And then it's like 22 pages. And so Jody and I worked through this and I taught her how to hide columns. And so that's what we did so that we have the columns just that we need that you're used to seeing, which is the month, the year to date, what the budget is, what we're over or under budget, and then what the percentage of that budget line item is that has been spent or is remaining. So again, it's all of the same information. It just looks a little bit different. So I know it's going to take some getting used to, but truly this will cut down on a lot of duplicate work by just running these reports out of QuickBooks.
So this is this helps the auditor or this helps the process here?
Process to getting to the same point.
It's less steps.
It eliminates.
You remember,
right?
Yes.
but you still,
All in the-
like, I mean, when me and Jody discussed it, she still runs it both ways because, it's just a matter of checking it both ways.
Right, just to make sure.
And just, that's her way of doing it, and this is her last month here, so. And I don't know whether the road district will keep doing this, I know back when Eric first brought this on. When they first switched to QuickBooks. And it was actually the board's preference to go back to the other way of reading, just because they were easier at the time. That's been almost 10 years ago now, so. But yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of just getting used to a different format.
And then once we, well, I'm going to get into talking a little bit more about the accounting procedures. But yeah, as you're looking at that, I just wanted you to know why it looks different. So at that point, can I get a motion to approve the November audit report in the amount of $170,454.78 and the December bills to pay in the amount of $176,726.86.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Any items on those? Or? Okay. Roll call, please.
Trustee McNutt,
Yes.
trustee Bradlow,
Yes.
trustee King,
Yep.
trustee Thurman,
Yes.
and supervisor Hess.
Yes.
5 ayes and 0 nays, the motion passes.
Okay. And then the next one is the November's budget report. And again, the new look, the old look, all the same information. So can I get a motion to receive, file, and approve the treasurer's November budget report?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Trustee Thurman,
Yes.
trustee Bradlow,
Yes.
trustee King. Yeah. Trustee McNutt
Yes.
and supervisor Hess.
Yes.
With 5 ayes and 0 nays, the motion again passes.
Moving on to unfinished business. First, we have the intergovernmental agreement between DeKalb Township and DeKalb Township Road District for use of property. As Craig alluded to earlier, we did receive a draft of that on Thursday. Dale and I met on Friday and did some reviewing of that. And so, Dale, today,
I'm sorry, before we move forward, did you say you were gonna say something else about the sheets, the balances,
I'm gonna be talking about accounting procedures a little bit later in the.
oh, okay, does that refer to this? Or does,
No, not that in particular,
okay,
not about not this month's reports, no.
well, I guess I have a question, is it too late? I hope it's not too late. November, December. So the one with the percentages, this is the new, we can expect to see it like this all the time.
It has been presented that way all the time, it's just a different layout.
Okay, so this one doesn't do that.
No, because that's a budget report and that's the bills that we've paid. So the one that says 2022 November, those are the checks that were written and cleared in November. And right behind that is December's checks that were written. So what you're doing is auditing that to make sure that everything in all those checks that were written that are, in line with what's in our budget.
Right.
You're approving those. The December budget is showing you what we've spent in the last month, what we've spent year to date, what was allotted in that budget item, and whether we're over or under that, the dollar amount, and then the percentage we're over or under. Or the percentage that we've used.
All right.
So I am going to come to that and talk about that. So yeah, if you have questions about that, we're gonna dig in a little bit deeper, okay?
Okay.
All right. And so I was out sick on Monday and Tuesday, so I did everything that I could to get the agenda and the board packet together. So I still have to send my notes to Craig so that we can take make the edits.
Next step.
Yeah. So we don't really have anything, or I don't have anything to report on the subject other than that update.
No, I mean, Dale, you sent some notes today. The one thing I forgot to add that, and it's been something, I've had numerous discussions with, Forma, John, the road district attorney, and, the majority, so at Torma, they need one person to be the contact person for whether it be the Township Road District is with one policy. So as part of this and knowing that most of the liability falls onto the road district, whether it be the building, we have the most assets with the building, all the equipment and everything. I think, we did a Township officials conference meeting or board meeting last Friday or week ago Friday, and talked to both Jim Donaldson, the executive director, and the assistant executive director, Matt Knight, about this. Just to find out what, their thoughts are, and they said it does, varies township by township, but I think, for this one being that majority of all assets and liabilities fall on the road district, that the road district highway commissioner should be the contact person for Torma. Included kind of in that, and that's not something, that was something after I sent to John with that. There was a couple other things I think I sent to you guys both with the IGA, but I proposed that I either missed sending it to John and things of that nature. So, and John had some other things too as well, but mostly were just corrections. I know when you asked about the phone and the internet, and I'm not sure how the internet's broke down right now, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Jody about how that's broke down to put it on that.
I think it was gonna be 33% between the road district, the assessor's office, and the township.
Yeah, and I'm just not sure how that's broke down right now. I know as far as the phone, it almost is shouldn't even be listed on there because we all have separate numbers for the phone. So I don't know about so much if the assessor's office is on the phone, the township's phone bill, But as far as the road district's phone number is, I get billed separately directly from the
Okay.
phone company.
That makes sense then.
But now that it's internet, I guess I can't make that statement anymore. I forgot about
Yeah, we
that.
just get one metro.
Yeah, so I'll have to see how that works out.
But every phone number is listed on there.
Yeah.
But is there per line charge or is it just the all?
No, it's like an inclusive.
Is the bigger-
Yeah, so I mean, it might be as much as we have to sit down with Metronet to figure that out, or, you know.
Yeah, but the one thing I thought it was spectacular, all the bases covered, just a couple minor things. I think I say we 99.9% the way there, from where I see it.
Yeah, and as far as the liability insurance, I mean, that makes complete sense to me. Because you do have more of the assets, so.
As far as Township of Illinois risk management,
Yeah, township officials, I don't even,
risk management.
it's association, but when you call, it's like CCMCI. It's actual insurance company.
So that we'll revisit the subject in January's board meeting.
And hopefully by January, sorry if I interrupted, but we should be able to vote on it, I would hope.
Yeah, that's my hope too.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good one. A good way to start the year.
And then, okay, so any comment or questions about that subject?
And if anyone wants a copy, I can send it to any of your emails. I just shared it with the people that's on this committee, but if the rest of you would like one.
Until the finished product stuff.
Yeah, we're trying to trust the committee process.
I've been working out really well, the committee, working out really well.
Let's see if you're 99% there.
Oh, yeah, that's what-
We trust Dale. Another thing.
My math not big great.
All right, moving on to township accounting. This is a subject we started last month, and so I'm gonna go back and share some more details. So in your packet is some pages from the township code, and this too. I started explaining it last month, but wanted to bring some documentation to back up what I was saying is that one of the main statutory responsibilities of the township supervisor is the fiscal duties of the township. And so this outlines what those fiscal duties are, and that includes like at the before the annual meeting, that reports that has to be issued that shows what the expenditures were. There's a couple of different requirements during the year. And so while traditionally, I don't know, for 30 whatever years, there has been a bookkeeper. Now that Jody's retiring, it's an opportunity to make some changes. And with support from some of the agencies we contract with, this seems like a one-day obligation that I would have, if I were to concentrate a whole day on it. I did consult with Bill Newkirk, and if you remember, he's the gentleman who was here last month from Newkirk and Associates that done their audit. And just for reference, he works with 13 townships, and of those 13 townships, either the supervisor or the clerk does handle all the fiscal duties. He has recommended cleaning up QuickBooks as of December 31st. And having multiple conversations with Jody. When the township started using QuickBooks, she was never really adequately trained. And so she was trained on how to use it to write checks and how to use it to make deposits. And so it was this
Just the bare
piecemeal
bones
training.
type stuff.
And so she, used it the way that, in the different ways that she was trained to use it. And so there's some old accounts that are still on there, some old balance sheet that he suggests we remove. And then when we start using it on a regular basis, the program's going to operate more efficiently and more versatilely. So for our monthly reporting, like those reports that are in there now, there's some old line items from budgets that are in this year's budget. And so we're gonna clean it up, and then we can also use it come when we're ready to start the new fiscal year. Rather than creating a budget on an Excel spreadsheet, we can just set it up in QuickBooks, print it out that way, and then we're not doing duplicate work. So, and then running the reports as we have for this month, that's going to eliminate having to take that extra step of doing another spreadsheet. Also through cleaning up QuickBooks, he says that it's going to provide for better checks and balances in the accounting system. And that will also apply when he's doing the annual audits. And then last thing that I think is really important, by using QuickBooks to its fullest capability, it's going to be less complicated at that time when if there's, a transfer of power and the new supervisor comes in, everything's already going to be in QuickBooks. And then there's not going to have to be, all these different items that we're looking at to get the information. So that was one thing. Another change that is going to be happening January 1st, 2023 is we are going to begin collecting W-9s from the vendors we issue payments to in excess of $600. We have to do that to be in compliance with the federal law. And to my knowledge, it hasn't been happening. And I don't know if the previous auditors didn't tell anyone that needs to happen, but we're supposed to be collecting those. And then at the end of the year, we're supposed to be issuing 1099s to make sure that we're reporting to the federal government, who we're making payments to so that they're getting taxed on that. So we do have to start doing that. And so that's going to include, that doesn't include everybody we make a payment to, but it's going to include landlords, cleaning services, accounting, legal, anyone that's identified as a sole proprietor, an LLC, or a partnership. We don't have to collect from companies that provide goods or utilities. So, if we buy something on Amazon, we don't get asked from Amazon or any utility company. It's just those that provide more or less services. And then at the end of each year, there's a process of entering the information from the W-9 into QuickBooks. And then at the end of the year, QuickBooks will just easily be able to produce those 1099s that will then send to the vendor. So, and then lastly, I asked him about having an extra internal control for an extra layer of security as we make this transition. And he suggested we do a monthly reconciliation. So that would involve one, or if more than one trustee wants to be involved. You're going to get the bank statement from the previous month, and you're going to get the QuickBooks reconciliation and match them up. So every check that went through the bank, you're going to see that it was, in QuickBooks, and that nothing that is went through the bank is not in QuickBooks. And then through having those 1099s, that also verifies that, it's a company that is legitimate.
Taxes and all that stuff.
Yeah. So any questions about any of that? Oh, and then Lisa, I said I was going to get back to that. So one of the other things I discussed with Bill is that as we're when we're making these other changes, and this is a question I'm posing to you, would you all find it valuable if someone came in here and really explained what you're looking at every month?
To what extent?
What you're looking at, and what, with the auditing the bills, what that, you're specifically looking for, and, especially as we.
To find errors.
Mhm.
See, I understand
Intentional.
how budgeting works. I run my own business, but I don't know what some of those things are.
Well, and you can ask that every month.
Mhm.
That's what your role is.
I do, actually.
It's your main role.
I
When
pull it up at home and kind of scroll through
Right.
it.
And
Before
that's,
I get here.
the most beneficial way to do it. And I think Dale, you alluded to that in the conversation we're having for a TOI session you went to.
It's always better to review it, because by the time when you get here, you don't really have a chance to go through it all with a fine tooth comb.
Yeah, I sit at my kitchen table
wouldn't
and
do it.
kind of scroll through it.
And for the most part, they're always
Yeah, I was gonna say, they always have.
pretty much the
same
same
type of-
vendors. Road district.
Yeah, they're pretty consistent.
And if you do, have a question about a particular one, that this green folder has all of the.
I was gonna
invoices.
say, you emailed me some a while back.
Yeah, you had
like 6
asked,
months worth, because I was curious.
so,
And it's actually easier on me. I can speak for myself that if you ask me a question of something we paid back a month ago. If I pay 100 bills in a month and put my initials on them, I might have to take a look myself to remember
Yeah.
what I paid $163 for at Gordon's Hardware. Because I couldn't tell you right
You
now.
can't remember all that. Gotta be on paper.
That I'm sure would be helpful for Mary as well. So
What would the person explain?
well, they would just kind of go through this and explain what you're looking at and, what the numbers are and answer any questions you might have.
Who would that person be?
Bill Newkirk said he would do it.
I think it's not bad as a practice.
Kind of a tutorial, like one-time tutorial. This is.
But I like to think at this point, we have a decent idea, but I think it wouldn't be bad.
I mean, especially as we're transitioning so that the format looks a little bit different, just to make sure that,
Like once we're totally into
yeah,
the new
once we,
format, then it would probably
Yeah.
help point out.
right, 'cause there's,
Well, or maybe in January as we're heading that way. I mean, he's not coming tonight. So,
right, but I don't know in
Maybe in
January will be.
well, January,
Right,
February,
yeah.
that time.
In the
as we're
beginning
heading.
of, yeah,
March, right?
right,
Be better.
maybe it's the start of the new fiscal year.
Budget.
We'll be here.
Because I know the 1099 thing has come up before and I do know the previous auditors said that we do not have.
The Newkirk says we do.
It's, I mean, I looked it up by the IRS, it's federal law.
Yeah, so we've had, so yeah, I don't know if we're exempt being a form of government, that I don't know. I know that previous supervisors have reached out to attorneys and I've never heard back. So I've been here 10 years, we've never done
Never had to do it.
Yeah. Well, it is a federal law. I have reached out to other townships. They do it. At our township training last month, I asked the supervisors in the supervisors meeting about it. They said we're required to do it. Accountant CPA said we're required to do it.
Yeah, so
The IRS says we're required to do it.
Oh, I'm not denying it. I'm just saying what's going on in previous.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's really important. I don't know like who makes this recommendation, but I heard it, early on in my term that it's good practice to change CPAs.
Every 6 years.
Because,
I went to an accounting, I'm sorry, go ahead.
because that, there's things that aren't brought up by some CPAs.
Mhm.
And then you bring in a new firm and, they do
Which is
things.
kind of
a
what
little
we're
bit
seeing
different.
here.
Yeah, I went to a thing at TOI and that's what I brought back, is there was an accountant and actually was a trustee of Bolingbrook Township, and she gave the lecture on exactly that,
Right.
switching
Why it's a good
accounting.
thing.
Right,
And actually, the National Association of Auditing Accountants,
Like the CPAs themselves
yeah,
agree with.
they're the ones that promote that.
right. Well, and I'm sure the city of Dixon would recommend that as well.
Yeah, they might, yeah.
On the whole staff, because it was an intern that bought it.
Yeah, when she was on vacation.
My question is, is it possible that it's an exception for road districts and not?
No, if it's with the federal government, that, unless, I would have to say.
Okay, yeah, I would,
Yeah, but it's not with every single company we ever check to. It's those that provide services.
no, I follow you, and that's not my point. My point is, if there's some concern, sometimes it's one thing to follow the rule. And I'm a supporter of following rules for the most part.
Me too.
I don't always think rules are right. It's just history,
We're in a line of work we pretty much have to follow.
Well, I think it's also important to kind of find out what the exceptions to the rules are as well. because I think that's important. I don't know that this is one of those things, but
I don't.
I just think that rules are one thing,
Right.
but exceptions to the rules are another thing.
Well, and there are some organizations we don't need to collect W-9s from, but collecting W-9s is a, you know, like, we're not gonna ask Nike.
I'm not questioning that. I'm just saying, you said, you know, like you follow the rules, and I'm just saying, sometimes there are exceptions.
Right, and there are
So-
exceptions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, and let me make this point. As an African American of African descent, it was legal for a lot of things to happen to Black people. So that's one of the reasons that I have a lot of skepticism about rules. And so when I hear you say, well, I follow the rules, well, I think, well, okay.
Yeah,
Yes and no,
right.
right? Because some rules, okay. Some rules not okay. And clearly, we're not living in the same age where that occurred. But however, I don't think that the mindset necessarily of people has changed. And so that's my point. It's not personal.
Well, I mean, it's the
Well,
IRS. I'm not me saying this.
But sometimes I think that you think it's personal. And so my point to you is that it's not personal. It's just the way my mind works. And I wanted to put that
Oh.
out there and be clear about
Yeah, no.
why I
no.
say what I do and the way that I am.
Yeah.
It's just who I am.
No, I mean, it's
And
glad we caught it. I mean, I did
Yeah, it's-
extensively read the IRS, and we, you know, there's places that are fined for not doing this.
Yeah,
and I
we
don't
know
want us to
against
be.
the IRS.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say, we pay the county highway department for services every year, but then they exceed that, and the county does not send us a 1099.
Yeah.
That's because we're
Okay.
not for profit. That's those exceptions to the rule. Not-for-profits don't have to be 1099.
Exceptions to the rule.
Well, that's why I said that it's sole proprietors, LLCs, or partnerships are the ones that we have to collect them from. Not-for-profits, we don't have to collect them from,
Right.
or the larger that provide goods.
Okay.
So there are exceptions.
As long as we know that the reconciliation detail, is there a way that we can have this print, landscape rather than portrait, because it was like the name column is truncated? And it might be an issue later on if we.
Can you show me which one you're talking about?
I got the reconciliation detail.
Yeah.
The name,
The name column is.
dot.
And because that was one part of it.
Oh, okay.
And if we print it, landscape, that won't be an issue.
Okay, yeah. And it may be that, you know, yeah, the columns were cut out. So, yeah, so that, and then, also related to accounting, Newkirk and Associates is gonna come in and help us clean up QuickBooks. And then, last month, I started telling you about, Swanson Quality Services. So they are the, business out of Sandwich that, we, use our QuickBooks services through. So this is the, well, she labeled it as an invoice, but this is what she sends me for the pricing for the support that she'll provide for January, February, and March. So the annual payroll, QuickBook payroll, this is a routine monthly charge for our 2 payroll accounts for town and GA. And then road district has, I believe you have 2 payroll accounts too that you pay out of, right? And so they would pay the same charges. And then annual support, that's the support, you know, her helpline, her coming up, things like that, questions we have. We pay that on a monthly basis too for the 2 accounts, town and GA. So every month, this is what we're paying to Swanson. Below that, in the blue highlighted area, is the support that she will be providing to me during the transition. So for the first 3 months, or the 3 months of the transition, she'll be coming up once a week to help me with payroll and paying bills to make sure that I'm using QuickBooks appropriately. And then the monthly reporting, these reports that are in your packets every month, helping me run those. But Jody and I have done that. I've taken very detailed notes on that. So she's just there kind of as support. So these are one-time charges that Swanson will be charging us to support this transition.
And the total, the 1678, that's an annual total then?
No,
This is the total for this set of services.
that's the total for this whole invoice. So whatever 750, what are you asking for?
Because it includes the blue stuff plus the normal stuff above.
Right, that's what I'm asking. It's a little bit confusing because it says the annual support.
Yeah, she labeled it that way, but it's not annual. It's
Oh, yeah.
a temporary 3-month support.
So this is a one-time charge.
The 750 and the 450 are one-time charges.
And the other two charges are annual,
The 358 and the 120 up above, those are monthly.
monthly. Okay.
Per fund, basically, like,
So, you know, we've experienced the supervisor leaving. And we had Jody to help Nancy. So should you leave, what happens? Then we go back to this lady?
Kim is, yes, Kim can help with that. Actually, there was a time where, when Jody was dealing with some personal stuff and we had to issue some checks and that Kim helped me with that.
Okay,
So they would be the good transitional step if ever. there's
Right,
a
and-
change in.
right.
supervisor.
And QuickBooks will be set up so that all financial information is in
It's all there.
QuickBooks. It's all up to date every month. And so,
So with the right QuickBooks training and this lady going over all the details,
it
2 or
can
3
be,
months here.
well, and, like, as Jody's been training me, as I said, I'm taking detailed notes. And so, you know, those will be
Yeah.
available too.
Sounds pretty good.
And then just so you know, so Swanson just charges us these monthly fees for their support and for the use of the payroll program. We don't pay like once a year to buy QuickBooks. That is part of the service that's offered by Swanson, is our access to QuickBooks. So we're not paying anything in addition to these charges as throughout the year.
so do we pay this every year or no?
more than that.
Okay,
This 358 and 120,
What's
we're
that?
gonna get charged that every month.
Every month.
Every
what's the
month.
total we pay every year? I'm sorry, I'm not that good. Do you have it someplace?
I would,
It'd be the 478 times 12, right?
yeah,
Approximately 4 times that six, it's, I mean, the 2 service fees for basically training someone. But, and that's almost something you would pay every 4 years and or.
If there was a new supervisor, right?
right. So 5736.
Which is actually very inexpensive. I remember at one time we looked, there was a software, I think the company was based out of St. Louis that. I know Sycamore and Cortland Township both used them for a long time. They since have went away, but what I'm getting at is that amount, I think that was myself and Jennifer, myself and Eric that sat through that. I can't remember which one. That's 8 years ago now, I want to say, and that was almost $20,000. And there, yeah, so I mean, the QuickBooks and TOI does a lot of training with QuickBooks and stuff as well. So, you know, it never hurts. I've always said with payroll, you know, that's been my complaint here since I took over, is that we realistically only ever had one person that knew how to do payroll. So
That could be scary.
yeah, car accident or anything like that, you know, and
Things strike.
that can be very difficult. So.
And then also emergency assistance payments, we can only issue those, you know, when Jody's here. So this is gonna allow us to,
No, that's.
And this will literally mirror, I mean, I'll be doing the same thing. So this is, you know, when.
well, minus the. 750.
Yeah, well, and I'm not sure, I won't have her train me on a lot of these. I'm doing a lot of QuickBooks now, being, you know, not to this extent with the treasurer seat I hold for the state highway commissioners, but that's you know, been pretty similar.
They use, okay.
So the
Well,
rest-
it's cheaper than a person.
Oh,
I was just curious, like what the total cost was for a year. That's my question. And it seems like it's certainly cheaper, you know, no insurance or anything.
Right. Well, and I did, I think Dale had asked for that last month about Jody's expenses. So speaking only for the township, every pay period, Jody works 4 days. 2 of those days are technically for township, 2 days are road district, because that's how we break the payments up. Her net pay for the 2 days with the township is $209.65. Divide that by 14 hours, it's $14.97 an hour. Average QuickBooks bookkeeper in Illinois doing some Google searches is anywhere from 1884 up to like 23. So
An hour.
absorbing that into what I'm already being paid, and truly, this is going to, by taking this work on, this is going to be very helpful to me when it comes time to making the budget.
Yeah.
Gonna help with understanding things.
Makes sense to me.
And is the QuickBooks, the township user, is it hosted, is it a self-hosted thing or is it in the cloud, you know,
It's on a cloud.
the cloud-based service?
Well, it's on our,
On the server.
yeah, I don't know if it's on, it's on.
It was originally purchased, I'm not mistaken. Eric, so when I say these first names, I apologize, so. At the start was Eric Johnson, I know he purchased a version of this without any backup. So this, and then I think later Eric brought in this company at the end of his term, which would have been. And they started, but they had to dismantle that, that's why when she talks about things that are still in there, it's some of the first that never got, because there was no training for it. So, and then when they came in, then they were slowly training you know, to Jody's defense, they were never, it was so
Never
hard.
adequately trained.
Yeah, I mean, just
It's all
couldn't
piecemeal.
get them here, and it was parts and parts, and it was, and because she was so backed up with everything, you know, it was like, I know how to do it this way, and this way works, so.
Oh, yeah, I get no.
It's a perfect time for this transition with,
Oh, yeah.
with her leave.
And I just wanted to make sure we had a backup strategy into that too,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's offsite backup.
She'll come in or do it remotely.
I mean, like back up the data.
No, you mean like
That's-
take
yeah,
that
Yes,
trash.
backed up to the cloud.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all. Wait,
I mean,
You stuck on lightning, man, yeah.
Uh,
What happened?
So, similar to Bill Newkirk, Swanson Quality Services works with a dozen or more townships, so, you know, they're very acquainted with.
I heard
township
that
business
is
and
involved with the township.
her mom used to be a clerk, or is a clerk, doing the two, so,
Oh,
yeah, so we're very
the
familiar.
township committed.
So any questions about any of that? I will be working with Bill Newkirk in January to clean up QuickBooks. And then once we kind of finalize the format of these reports, ask him to, he'll probably just do a virtual, do a Zoom thing and go over that. The monthly reports and. So
Is that we paying him for that, or is that just part of his service?
we'll be paying them for that. Because that's separate from the
Over and
audit,
above an audit.
but I think it's well spent money,
Oh, yeah,
you know. It's-
I was just asking.
never hurt to learn.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. I just thought, is the cleaning up of the QuickBooks, is that all a part of this process? So Swanson is not doing that?
Swanson's not doing that. I am gonna ask her about that, because if she can do that, that's where I would go first, because that would be included in what we're paying.
Okay, so it would be extra if Newkirk does it.
So
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
gonna ask Swanson about doing that.
Okay,
Yeah.
the whole thing just seemed like a money saving opportunity to the entire project.
And then, you know, at the end of the year, and then, you know, payroll will be, payroll, Jody's been doing payroll out of QuickBooks, but for something that didn't happen years ago, we're not able to use QuickBooks. It's not able to direct deposit into the bank. And so Jody has to do an extra step. So Kim and Jody have been working together to do whatever needs to happen so that we can do that direct deposit. So then that also eliminates that step. And, you know, when we eliminate these steps and have to do man-made things, you know, there's room for error. And so this will hopefully eliminate any of that risk.
At the expense of just being gender neutral, can we just say human things instead of man-made?
Oh, yes, yeah. Sorry
I'm
about that.
sticking with man-made.
Well, you can, but you know, diversity, equity, and inclusion suggests that we don't genderize things.
There's exceptions there.
Except that, yeah, that's sort of like slavery,
Right,
right? No
Right.
exceptions there.
right.
Yeah.
I don't think we can equate that phrase with slavery.
Well, it's not the phrase.
Come on.
Well, it's not the phrase, if I can, it really is just the mentality that says it's not okay to genderize when we are evolving as a society
Okay.
where we're clear about that and it doesn't always fit. And so to do it anyway suggests that we have disregard for people who suggest that that's not okay.
All right.
Okay.
That's pretty deep.
But it's pretty true.
I think you're expanding
Well, I'm saying if you
areas that,
are non-gender, that's my point.
you know,
Bathrooms, everybody goes, whether you like it or not.
they do, you're correct.
That's my point. That's my point.
But others would argue that men shouldn't be in the same bathrooms as little girls. Doesn't mean they support slavery.
Yeah, I would have.
Yeah,
Doesn't equate to slavery.
All right. I'm
All right,
gonna
we're
move
off.
on to new
you,
business.
let me just make this point. I don't think it equates to slavery, but I think the mentality that says it's okay to disregard other people because I don't choose to recognize what they value is not okay. That's my whole point. And slavery just happens to be an excellent example of that, which is why I use it.
All right, moving on to new business. We have approval of the DeKalb Township Road District tax levy. Do you want discussion first, or do you want me to make a motion first?
You can make a motion.
Okay, so a motion to approve the DeKalb Township Road District tax levy or bring it to the table for discussion. I'll go ahead and do that.
I'll
I'm going to
second.
do that. 30 seconds.
So,
Discussion.
just roughly speaking, it's just a 3% increase on the numbers from last year. The best and simplest way and is to say, you know, with costs right now reaching 10 to 15 to 30% on certain items. You know, I just thought 3% is fair, what's fair, because my costs are at 20 to 30% at an average across the board.
Is that consistent with other road districts?
I know that's-
Then you could be the model for everyone else.
No, rule of thumb was at one time in this county anyway. It's for the max every time because we are a P-TEL or tax cap county. We're one of, I can't remember how many now in the statewide, so we can only ask for a maximum of 4.99%. I think with the cost cutting measures I'm making it back, I don't need, I have not asked for that. I did last year, I just can't say that, but generally speaking, I think I will be okay at a 3% increase, so. I will go for questions if anyone's got any, but I guess what I'm at is I don't know that. How to explain it any better than that?
I just noticed an error. It says 10th day of December.
I did catch that, and I don't know if that might have been before we made the change.
What page is that?
It's very
Second.
clear.
Yeah, September, yes.
33 days.
What is the date? It's
14.
So, well, we will get.
Well, instead of restoring to the roll call, is it not? Is that the day he decided? Or-
It was the day I didn't type this, but or
Oh,
print it
okay.
out, we printed it out.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it auto the date.
Printed it out on the.
What's
10th.
that?
Maybe it auto filled the date because that's the date.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the date you open the Word document.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee King,
I. Is that what it is? AYE or A?
whatever you want it to be, as long as I know what you're saying.
Okay.
Trustee McNabb. Yes. Trustee Thurman,
Yes.
trustee Bradwell,
Yes.
and supervisor Hess.
Yes.
5 ayes and 0 nays, the motion passes.
Just a point, we took a roll call for the supervisor and it's at the board of trustees listed there.
Yeah, I noticed that too, and I don't know.
Say that again.
So for the votes, the supervisor's
down.
not on there. That's just to sign it as approval, but the vote, but I mean, it's still
Yeah, there's no way to report.
Okay, go ahead.
I
Yeah.
never noticed.
on mine, my levy last month, I did have my name listed to repeat what was done last year, so I don't know what.
And I could walk over to my office and see if that was just,
Well, and this was just what things that you found in the page?
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's the same format I've been using for years. I don't know, if maybe it just got blanked out or.
This is why.
I don't know if it's a requirement or-
I thought we would sign it, so, yeah, it's okay.
So,
Indeed, I get it.
so on the copy that we're signing, are you just gonna cross out the 10th and make it the 14th? And
Yeah, and if you read it. So it was adopted on the 10th day. Pursuant to a roll call, so it was,
Yeah,
So you're gonna cross out, make it the 14th? Okay. And so I think that probably should be reflected in the minutes.
yeah, that I will alter that.
Would we have to do another motion to do, because I think we just passed it as is this the right protocol? That's the only thing I'm gonna ask.
Yeah, we can,
Clarify.
yeah, all right, so I make a motion I move to approve or to amend the taxi levy ordinance on page 33-2 adopted this 14th day of December 2022 instead of 10th. So I make one second that.
I'll second.
Should we add you to the roll call vote too or not?
He did.
Oh, okay.
It's just not listed on.
Her and then.
I moved
Okay, thank you, sorry. I heard 2 seconds at once. Thank you.
that roll call.
Trustee Bradwell,
Yes.
trustee King,
yes,
trustee McNutt, yes, trustee Thurman,
Yes.
and supervisor. Hess.
Yes.
5 ayes and 0 nays, it passes as amended.
So we have the amendment that was passed and then we have the ordinance that was passed as amended. All right, next, resolution 2022-011T, approving the adoption of credit card policies and procedures for DeKalb Township. I'll just do a quick discussion on this first. This policy was introduced last month by the road district. Just tweaked a little bit by the attorney for the town, creating it as a resolution instead of an ordinance, just to be consistent with some things that we've done in the past. Same content, with the exception of, on the 4th page, section 17, addendum to existing policy. The town is electing to add this to the personnel policy because there's disciplinary procedures or disciplinary procedures for employees. It was recommended that the town includes this in the personnel policy so that staff are aware that, you know, if they misuse a credit card, that they'll be subject to discipline. And then if the road district chooses to adopt that too, then that would apply to road district personnel too for the policy and procedure manual. So those are the only differences from what was presented last month as an ordinance by the road district.
I have a question. What is inter alia? That's a legal term?
Inter alia, that means, among other.
Ask a lawyer. It's the only straight answer you're gonna get. I mean, it's.
It's Italian, I would, Latin for, among other things.
I know it's a long term. I just didn't know. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, because I didn't know.
So you speak Latin too amongst the many other?
Depends on the situation.
Oh, okay.
Just want to do that, little bit of introduction before, can I get a motion to approve the adoption of the credit card policy and procedures for the DeKalb Township?
So,
Second.
Discussion? Questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee McNutt,
Yes.
trustee Bradwell,
Yes.
trustee Thurman.
Yeah.
Trustee Burton
Hey,
and supervisor Hess.
Yes.
With 5 ayes and 0 nays, the motion passes.
Okay, next we have the approval of minutes for October and November, and based on what you have said, are we going to table these until next month?
I think that would be most appropriate, because otherwise you'd be making edits that I've already done and would take.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to table items IC and ID, the approval of the meeting minutes of the regular Board of Trustees meeting for October 12th, 2022, and November 9th, 2022.
second.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. So we will bring those back next month. And then old business, resolution 2022-010T, IGA with DeKalb Township Road District for maintenance of Oakwood and Evergreen cemeteries and.
So I'm so sorry to interrupt. I believe that you split the meeting minutes into 2 different items. And so we skipped the second.
I said I'd like to
Oh,
table
okay.
both of them.
I apologize.
It's okay. That was approved in October. So Craig contacted me and it's my understanding that he's saying because how it reads in the IGA is that there is when we have an agreement, the one party has to give 90 days notice to the other party if they want to cancel.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the exact date. I think it was because it's March 31st. I think it was the expiration. So basically, I counted that as January 1st. I think I brought it up last month or 2 months back in October that we were gonna go ahead and post for the job, and if I interrupt, I apologize. But we're gonna post the job around Thanksgiving. We did post that job. And at the time that I reached out to Mary, we had no one. So I made another effort. I can't remember if it was right after Thanksgiving, we put an ad in the Chronicle. Not an inexpensive way to go either, by the way. So I think it was like I'm sorry, yes, so I have, and since I emailed Mary, because I want to give her plenty of notice that I hadn't received anything via Facebook, our Facebook here, on getting anyone in. Since we have posted in the paper, I have received some. I have not met with anyone here yet. I have, I think, 6 total.
Wow.
So, which is very positive. I did talk to, it's quite ironic that it was, I talked to one of their, a parent to one. He is currently a freshman at University of Missouri and won't be back until right around the Christmas break time to meet with him. So, and he's down there for aerospace engineering. My very first cemetery mowing person went to Iowa State and became an aerospace engineer. Both of their fathers are DeKalb firemen, or well, the first one, his father's now a second one fireman, but it's just kind of ironic, funny, I guess.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I need to sit down and figure it out. So I think what I'm asking for in a long-winded version is more time, if everyone's okay with it. And I think I would have a really good response by the January.
And then February, we vote. January, you update, February, we vote.
Yeah, if that's okay with you guys, so, yeah. But I just want to bring that to the table, so I'm making every effort, and it's funny with the Facebook, because I'm also put it out there for, and just for a comparison, an office assistant, and I've had, just on Facebook, I've had 12 people send me resumes.
Do you have it on Indeed?
No, we just put it on, I don't know, you'd have to ask Erin how she put it on Facebook.
Because Indeed, I mean, you can post it for free and you get that.
And maybe
very
that's how
far-reaching.
she did it, but if she didn't, just on our own Facebook page and however it's been shared,
Our likes are growing.
yeah. But, and it's funny how the professional side of that, but, parents or just the normal, grandparents or whatever around town that would say, hey, my kid might be good at this, or go to do this. We didn't get anything for, and that's been on since before Thanksgiving. The professional assistant job, we only put on for a week, and got that, and I already got 12, and a lot of very, very good resumes.
Good. Let's go.
Almost scary.
Do you want to vote on that, or is it informal discussion?
It can be just an informal discussion. I think by the minutes, it's clear that you folks are giving me approval to stretch the calendar a little bit on that. So I'm good with that.
Okay, moving on, no executive session tonight, so other business, next regular meeting will be in 2023, January 11th, 2023 at 6 p.m.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Is anything gonna happen for Jody? Since this is-
Yes,
We can probably discuss that
Holidays.
after the meeting.
oh, yeah.
Okay, so,
I know you're about to adjourn. I want to just clarify one thing. I don't think it's okay for men to be in the bathroom with little girls unaccompanied by adults. So I want to clarify that.
Okay.
All right.
I don't think that's a subject for this meeting.
Well, it might not be, but he mentioned it, so I wanted to
Well,
clarify.
I just,
Yeah.
we get off track. So can I get a motion to adjourn? I will second that. So adjournment is at 7:58. All in favor, say aye. Anyone opposed? 7:58, we're adjourned.
I'm gonna try to take it off